listeners. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday. This is the whole hour set of our teen athletes. And all those people and businesses that support those athletes. Look at all of us today. Another busy morning, Dr. D, but who's to your left? Say who's to your left.
Let's see. I believe it's the owner of the vehicle with the license plate JQC743. Going to have to move his car because it's blocking my truck.
Oh, you talk so much trash.
Michael Baker!
Good to be back.
Yeah, would you move your moped?
Yeah.
It is. The license plate actually is what? Erica, you know this. What is my actual license plate?
It's got something with Boston on it.
No, BG Clubs.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It
Boys and
is.
Girls
It's not
Clubs.
lying. It is.
Absolutely.
It is.
And
It's true.
Can I just tell you a quick little story?
I want to know what your degree is into. Tell the world. I mean, not everybody listens to the show every single week. So
I'm going to give our two gentlemen to the left
First,
two
the
guesses.
license plate.
All right, first the license plate.
Okay, so first the license plate.
Okay.
So BG Clubs.
Yeah.
So before here, I was in Anaheim for 15 years running the Boys and Girls Clubs. And I was driving home one day. And I've had this license plate everywhere I've ever been. When I was in Washington State, it was BG Clubs. New Jersey was BG Clubs. I didn't have it in New York, though.
Okay.
So
Of course.
I'm driving down the 5 freeway.
Okay.
Going home, when I was working in Anaheim, we first moved to Irvine. I'm driving home, and I get pulled over by the Highway Patrol.
Oh.
And I know I'm not. I honestly, I don't speed. I don't like speeding. It's not my thing.
You're that guy in the fast
I got
lane
pulled
going
over,
60. I got it.
and I'm like, what's maybe my taillight's out or something? And the police officer walks up to my vehicle from the side, and he tells me roll down the window. I said, "Is there a problem, officer?" He goes, you a good golfer? I said, what do you mean? He said, big clubs. I said, no, it's Boys and Girls Clubs. He goes, oh, you work for the Boys and Girls Clubs? I go, yeah. He goes, have a good day. And he walked back to his car, and that was it.
That is awesome.
That's not how
BG
I heard
Clubs.
the story.
That's it. That
I
is
also
awesome.
understand
Story.
that you met your wife that way, too.
My wife was a police officer that pulled me
That's
over.
who- that's
Pulled
who
him
pulls
over.
you
Ironically, yes.
That's right.
Marrying the,
Awesome.
Yeah, marrying the librarian
That's it.
/
Followed her.
highway patrol.
Then you were speeding. Then you were speeding. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Gotta catch her. Gotta catch her.
I chased down the police. That's not really good.
Buddy, I had to get the verification when you told me what your degree is in it, because I didn't, not that I didn't believe you, because like you're straight up shooter, and I love that. That's what I really, really love about you. But he goes, because I had that look like, do I believe it? Is it funny? Is he going to say something funny after this? Because it's not funny. I'm not saying it's funny.
No, I get it.
No, I wouldn't say it's funny. Not
No,
today.
I get it. No, I
not
get it.
today. Don't say it's funny, Michael Baker. We'll get to the punchline.
I'd laugh anyway.
Exactly. So he called his wife, and he asked her, "What do I have my degree in?" And he and so say what, and it matched. So it was like match game. Okay.
So you have each. Let's give everyone on a panel one guess.
Yeah.
What do you think my major was in?
Got to give him the mic. Give him the mic.
Legitimately majored in this.
He has a degree in.
Business.
No. This could be a blended card in it for somebody.
Economics? No.
That's a good guess,
Concrete
though. They're
mixing?
very smart guesses.
Concrete mixing?
Communication.
Communications.
Good. Another
no,
great
no.
guess.
It's another
And
good
that
guess.
was Terry Conrad is in the house. Put your hands when a lady speaks.
Absolutely.
PR for the Elks. We're honored. We're honored.
Incredibly
okay?
thick hair too. Incredibly thick
Yes,
hair.
she's got great hair.
Doc and I are so jealous.
That's
She's got
right.
great hair. We got great hair.
You better be careful. You could lose
Ed
that today.
Langlow stepping up to the plate.
Was it mechanical engineering?
No, it was not mechanical engineering.
Okay, so Sam Russell, and then we also have his buddy. Okay, you guys are. I know it's Spencer. I know you thought looking at my notes. I don't know. It's just Spence. First of all, I just call him Spence. I did. And there's no dead air in radio. I get it. So, okay, we went around the room. Dr. D, we all know what it is, so we can't. Okay, lay it
Home
out.
economics.
Yeah, exactly.
It was not home ec. Afro-American history.
See, look at the faces.
Yeah.
Now, I only have one question. When you chose that major, when you chose that major, what kind of a job did you think you would get?
Great question.
It's a great question.
So that's a wonderful question. The reason I chose that major was because in my college in Albany, the Great Danes, by the way, great college baseball program, phenomenal. Looking for a catcher in 2 years, so you're coming our way.
There you go.
Anyways,
He's hired.
yeah, Division I, by the way.
Is
Mighty
it
American
really?
East Conference. Division I, absolutely.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. I thought
we-
you say stuff, and I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Okay. No, I didn't
Division
know it was
I.
D1.
The
That's
Great
huge.
Danes.
Okay.
Someone listening to this, one person listening to this, knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I went there, transferred immediately, but I went there for a week. Anyways, so the reason it was so applicable to what I currently do now is the emphasis of the major was on urban affairs. So we dealt. A lot of the studies were on dealing with low economic situations, families dealing with significant health challenges, but urban blight, and that's where you're going to find a lot of your boys and girls clubs across the country are in areas where there is very low economic vitality, and that's why I was drawn to it, because I mean that's just been my life. I don't care where you drop me off. We're gonna figure out a way to make it work. I don't care if you give me a corner in a gas station. Say, do you have this space? Okay, we can turn that into a boys and girls club. We'll make this work. We'll figure it out. I don't know how we'll fund it, but we'll figure it out. So yeah, that was the impetus for it.
And he switched majors.
Well, no. I was.
Did you start off?
No. I see.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
but because you were inspired by an event
I was going to be a guidance counselor.
Yeah,
exactly.
guidance counselor.
Yeah. So my junior year is when I switched the major.
Then he walks into a club. So I got to finish the good parts of the story for you. So go. Then go.
Okay.
Right. Whatever. It's all about you, Michael.
This is not the Michael Baker show, but okay. So, as I was mentioning, in Albany, we had a wonderful program where you would do community service. It wasn't court appointed, it was through school, where you put in 72 hours in a semester, and if you went there for a semester, you got 3 college credits. So my advisor called me into his office and said, listen, you haven't taken any electives yet. You need to take an elective. I said, well, I'm going to be a guidance counselor. He goes, I understand that. He said, but why don't you, he goes, here's a new booklet that came out and had all the nonprofits in Albany, New York at the time. This was 1988. Way before your birth, probably even your parents' birth, but I don't even get into that. So I looked at it and I flipped through it and it said, turned the page, it said the Albany Boys Club. It was still the Boys Club then, it wasn't the Boys and Girls Club yet. And my advisor said, you know what, you should go down there. I'd heard of it, I didn't know anything about it. He said, you should go down there. And I said, okay. So I went down there. I literally ran from my dorm to the Boys Club on Delaware Avenue in Albany, New York, and walked through the front door. And the second I walked through the front door, I saw the club director leading about 20 kids into the gym. He had a polo shirt on, Boys and Girls Club polo shirt, jeans, sneakers, a whistle around his neck, clipboard in his hand. He had about 20 kids following him. I thought, this guy's got the greatest job in the world. I said, this is awesome. And then there was another staff member talking to kids over here at one table, another staff member helping kids with homework at another table. But everybody in the building, everybody except me, was African American. Every person in the building. So I thought, this must be a place for African American kids. That's what I thought it must be. And what ended up happening is, so I went back to my advisor the next day and I said, listen, I got to change my major. He goes, well, you don't change your major your junior year. What are you, nuts? And I said, no, I'm going to do it. He said, what are you going to major in? I said, Afro-American history. He goes, are you outside your mind? He goes, why would you do that? I said, well, if I'm going to work for the Boys Club, that's what because I thought it was just a place for African American kids. That's all I knew. So he said, you'll never graduate on time. I said, I will. And I did. And I majored in African American history. And it turned into a career I've been doing for 31 years.
Woo!
All right.
Hands together.
All right.
That's the story. That's a
Mayor Baker.
Do we have any? No, don't even start that rumor. Don't start that rumor.
Okay.
Governor Baker.
That's better.
Okay. It's always best to start at the top and work your way down. Yeah.
I fool around like visions and everything like that, but I can't help it. I had a really good vision, not probably to a lot of people in this room, but when Melania and Donald, went down the escalator, and I had a room full of people in my living room, so I have witnesses, and everyone was like laughing. And I swear, I don't know, when you go away, I don't know, I have a tendency of going away. So I went away, and it's like I looked on the wall, and I saw these balloons, and I saw this congratulations. So I said, because I don't have a filter, as you know, Michael Baker.
Yes,
some
I know.
people, I got shoe size 10, ends up in my mouth sometimes. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I'm like looking, I go, there is our next president. And it was like, Wah! Now remember, if you would have said that when they went down the escalator, you would have just, I did. I was laughed. It's my house. That even makes it worse. So I had to get everybody drinks. So, and I don't drink. So since then, I've had one other one, okay? And I have a witness here, too, because I've already told you about this. Oh, here it comes. And it's the same thing. And it was really kind of cool because I'm in it, like the balloons are coming down on you and everything like that. And then your name, Baker, rhymes with like Mayor Baker. And I'm like, oh! And I don't even, I'm trying to think. It wasn't a governor. It wasn't like, an ambassador of all the clubs or whatever like that. And did I not? Please help me and say that I did.
Oh, my God.
She has visions.
Oh, yeah, well.
Did I not tell you that?
Woohoo! Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's all
Well,
she wants to do.
that's
Just
great.
don't want to touch it. Okay.
It's a great vision.
And then you end up moving to Buellton.
Buellton.
Well, there you see. So it's not. So the Santa Barbara one doesn't have to worry. Okay.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because it's not you
Let's
wouldn't
not start
run
that
for
rumor.
mayor of Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
You might like go for mayor of Buellton up there. Why are you looking at me? Every great
Holly
president
Sierra is a
has
great mayor in
campaign.
Buellton. She's doing a great job.
Yes,
Holly,
she does.
I love you. I
What?
think you're the greatest.
She is.
She's fantastic.
She's a fantastic person.
She's a fantastic
We
mayor.
can all give a
vision. What?
we can all give a shout out to Kristen Stedden, who is
Yes.
now Santa Barbara
City Council.
Council.
Well, yeah,
awesome.
and she didn't think she was going to win when she was a co-host here. There's something about becoming co-host on
But she
Teen
knew she
Sports
was going to
Radio.
run.
Yeah, she right.
You're
yeah.
telling me you
Yeah.
see me running.
Yes.
No,
I see
desire
you
to run.
winning, not running, winning.
Winning.
Winning. Yeah, winning.
Okay.
See?
It'll be one of the most unusual elections ever. that
Exactly.
He didn't run, but he won.
Exactly.
We don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
This will be interesting.
All I got to say this, knowing you as well as I know you, and I'm pretty good for not the length of time, pretty much 4.5 years, but you just know people when you know them. If you wanted it, not to like change because the past and the future is all really in the present. Maybe this is in the future. Maybe it happened in some past, that we shared a long, long time ago. But the balloons look current. They look like those big balloons you buy now, not like some fancy balloons that old, like what.
The most important question in this
Yeah.
whole thing.
Okay.
How thick was my hair in that vision? Was it thick?
No, you didn't
No.
have,
I was
it's like-
as bald as I am right now?
Yeah, and your wife was
Every
stunning.
She that's clearly
Yeah,
Everyone-
no,
perfect vision. You
everybody
have
was so
perfect
happy.
vision.
Yeah, it was
Everyone
great.
was wearing sunglasses
Yeah.
because of the
because
sheen.
the lights were just
it's
shining
right.
up
No,
on my head.
no.
That makes sense.
We've got to talk about a lot of things today. We're hoping we have kids coming, but if they don't, we're still going to talk about them without the children. Then that's okay.
Sam's here.
That's right.
Not guests. He's a co-host.
Right.
We're talking about our guests.
True.
But that's okay. So we're going to continue on from last week. So we will wait and see what that is. This is Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. We'll be back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I'm your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday. Before we get hopping and popping, I just want to give a little bit of love out here to Tino's Drain and Sewer. Woo!
Okay.
I bet he's already, let's see, he's replaced my water heater. He's done a couple of little jobs for us. Another friend of ours, we want to put, I just want to give a shout out, Dominique.
Yeah, he also works with Cal Property Management. We really appreciate Cal. Wonderful, wonderful man.
It's nice when somebody comes to you on time, price is right, super nice. My bathroom was cleaner than, I was kind of like nervous, you know what I mean? Especially when you have a bathroom issue. Spray, it's just embarrassing. And then I get back and I thought the house cleaner, it was just nice to have somebody that super, super nice. I mean, I loaded them up with drinks. And Tino, we love you, and I hope this shout out helps you. And not like you need the business because you're very busy. All right, here we go.
There we go.
Sam Russell. When you were here for the wonderful conversation we had about the transgender. Can't remember who's here, who's not here.
I don't think so.
Oh, you fantastic! That's even better, Dominique. Answer the question.
So, what we were talking about last week was having a brief conversation because in sports, it's coming up more and more that, in particular in women's sports, but we're wondering, do you and any of your classmates, are you guys talking about how the inclusion of our transgendered population, how that's affecting sports in school?
I don't think it's affecting our school personally a bunch. I haven't seen it personally at our school, but I definitely feel like it's kind of an issue in higher level sports and stuff like that.
So, do you guys have, just thinking off the top of your head, do you have any ideas and stuff? Because what's happening is people are trying to figure out, well, how are records going to be recorded and technically who's really won the race, if there's a biological advantage, perhaps. So it's making it a little trickier than to just say, here was the guys' race and here was the gals' race. You got any ideas to share on the topic?
I feel like they could just have a league of their own, maybe just for if you're talking about running or any sport, just a different league for them or a different race for them that they all could run against each other.
So then what we were talking about is it gets complicated because there's a current court case going on. I want to say it's even gone all the way up to Supreme Court, where a young lady, technically she has more testosterone in her body, even though she's biologically female. And they're trying to figure out, okay, well, is it right for her to keep all of her awards and everything? Because even though she is biologically female, her testosterone level is abnormally high compared to her classmates. So what we're realizing is, and this is why we bring up the subject, especially with sports, is we're realizing the conversation has a lot of gray in it. It's not just a black and white conversation, because it's not a matter of whether you're simply biologically female or biologically male. We also have a group of population that possesses both sexes, and we also have a population that doesn't equate themselves to either gender, and they're also participating in sports. So then it gets a little tricky in my mind, thinking about a separate league, trying to figure out, well, who would actually be in that league? So what we were talking about is sports is really enjoyable, and celebrating our abilities and celebrating our strengths, and competition is really great, and it has so many dynamics to it. Sports is so important for psychology and for the development of our character. So we want to create space where we are inclusive and we're including everyone in our population, and we're just trying to figure it out, have a conversation.
Well, it does matter at the end of the day, and the reason why is you have to talk about it, because when you especially get into college, and I've said this before, my younger son got $120,000 between academics and sports, and so there's money on the line. Michael Baker. When there's money on the line, you have, especially in running, and Ed was bringing up another sport, boxing. You have wrestling. I think the state champion woman, biological male, is the state champion in female wrestling. So, it's you're sitting there and you're talking to people, and you don't want to be. You have to do it in such a. I'm not the politician here, but you can't not talk about it, because it's taking away from the person. There's a winner and a loser. So anytime there's this country is not life really. Sports is not a zero sum. It's winning and losing. So you want to always have the biggest playing ground for everybody to participate. And I don't think myself personally creating a separate league. I don't think that's right. I don't know. What do you think, Dr. D? Help me out here. I'm drowning.
Well, I'm going to throw some more gray.
Okay.
What if an individual decides that they're going to change their race based upon a genetic test, a DNA test that they've taken on any one of the sites?
Genetic marker that shows that they're more Native American, perhaps.
Right, but they've been declaring Caucasian, or they've been declaring Asian, or they've been declaring any other race across the globe, and suddenly I want a piece of the pie of the Native American, and I've got to figure out what tribe and this and that, because apparently there are some people actually who do that. But let's just say no, take the money out of it. You want to suddenly change your race, but now you've got a whole nother issue.
But I think there's a difference there, because they're not altering the race.
No, that's true. They're not.
They had a test taken and it showed. Okay, maybe prior to that, I'll take myself as an example. My whole life, my mother would always say, "Okay, you're when we talk about ethnicity, you're 50% German and basically 50% Irish, something to that effect." Well, I did the Ancestry.com, and it comes out we're like 2% Irish. I'm like, what, are you kidding me? Are you out of your mind? I felt cheated. I was like, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
So I still feel Irish, but it's not nearly as much as I thought it was. But actually, the number's gone up, thankfully.
Well, I did the same thing, and of course, it confirmed what I'd been saying since I was a little kid. I'm Heinz 57. The 5 and the 7. There are 7 continents, right?
Yeah.
I'm from 5 of the 7. Okay?
Wow.
So I'm a global citizen, if you will.
You are.
But I could declare certain areas. And you're right. That is not as much a controversy. But there's also another piece of information. And again, this is basic biology. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. Every single human being who has ever existed started out, as the cells began to divide, as a female. And then I don't know if it was the chromosomes or the DNA in the parents or the new DNA that was created from this joining of cells and then the dividing and subdividing that then determined, okay, this person's going to be male. Oh no, this person's going to be female. You get another X, you get an X, or you get a Y to go along with that. So I don't know how that is determined. I don't know if they're up there rolling dice or what the deal is.
But it's very interesting when you bring science into the mix.
Yeah.
I'm curious with Boys and Girls Club. Have you had how do you handle gender issues with Boys and Girls Club?
It's based on how the child sees themselves.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with
And
anything
that's
else.
California high school.
If the child identifies themselves as a male, female, that's what we go with.
Yeah.
I would be lying if I said to you it's not a unique situation, because it's becoming. I shouldn't say unique. Unique is the wrong word. It's becoming more common now. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I wouldn't know how to answer this because that would be a shock to me. It's much more common now.
And it's interesting because people are more open to having the conversation. So
absolutely.
when a child expresses something, they're received in a safer environment. I'm hoping is the case.
Well, you can look at it this way too. Here's a couple different things. We're all roughly the same generation. Okay, I'm going to be other than you two gentlemen here. Okay, it wasn't that long.
Is why your voice is so important, Sam.
It wasn't that long ago that it would be unheard of to have a gay character on TV. There's no way that would happen on public broadcasting. There's no way you would see that. The advertisers wouldn't support it.
Liberace was there when I was.
Yeah, but I mean.
Yeah, but we didn't talk about it.
Right, but I'm saying that the character was on TV, known openly gay as a character on TV. It's like that would not have been as acceptable, certainly as it is today. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a great thing. The other area is, I mean, not too long ago, it would have been. I mean, if you turn back the clock a little even further, seeing a quote unquote, I'm using a not politically correct term, but like a interracial couple on TV. Oh my goodness, that would have been like, there's no way you would see that. I mean,
kids these days, especially in California, you'd never imagine that being an issue.
And what is the impetus for this inner conflict, and that one is going to decide whether they're going to be one gender or the other, or neither, or both, or what have you? And to me, it ties into the whole realm of cosmetic surgery, that people go in to do that. And I used to think, oh, come on, this is ridiculous. Why are you doing that to your body? And then I got an insight. A lot of people who are doing it, yes, they're doing it to fit in and so forth. Some people don't feel comfortable in the body they're in. So when they make the change, now they're feeling complete. They're feeling happy.
It's called dysphoria.
What is this impetus that has come about in so many people? And is this something that you can track back through history where you've had this same issue?
So there is a whole history that is being shared in regards to a gender issue, and whether you're relating to the gender that you were born into, or whether psychologically your brain is actually insisting that you relate to a gender that's different than what you were born into. And from what I have observed, I have a transgender child, he identified as a male ever since he was 2 years old, and wasn't able to really articulate that conversation till he got into his teens. And so it's very interesting. It has to do with a sensation of dysphoria with the body. And so if anyone thinks that kids are jumping into having an operation in order to be able to do better at sports, I just want to let you know, no, that's not what's happening. Anyone who decides to go that route is really undertaking something that's quite difficult, but in the end, it gives them that real beautiful sense of strong self-esteem, because when they look in the mirror, they see who they feel they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's just there's a smush. We're gonna smush them right on. Now we got all new commercials. Enjoy. We'll be back with more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I'm your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday. All right, well, I want to hear what Spencer has to say.
I'm a wrestler, and personally, I've never encountered this situation, but I do know, I believe, like what you were referring to earlier was in Texas. I'm pretty sure it was a girl that was transitioning to become a guy, and she had been taking some sort of testosterone or something, which was obviously making her a little bit more bulky and strong than other girls, and so it gave her a pretty big advantage. And I saw a video of her wrestling other girls, and she was just completely dominating. She was how much bigger. And I think that there was a lot of like debate as to if that's okay or what you should do in that situation. And I feel like I could go either way. I understand the thought of like keeping them in that like division, but I also understand moving them into a different division or like into the boys division or whatever they identify as, because there could be an unfair advantage to the other girls who aren't taking like testosterone or anything that would give them an advantage.
That's a good point. We didn't even discuss that. We've always thought that if they just jumped over to, what they identified with, instead of just staying within the same gender, because that would kind of be help. I don't know what it would do as far as enhancing, but I would think that you would get stronger. I mean, and you're not doing it for the sport. You're doing it so you can help identify with who you feel you are. I understand that.
Yeah, the quantity of testosterone in our body definitely has something to play in the conversation of how sports is going to handle the gender question. But it's really good to know, in California in particular, whatever gender you identify with, that is the team that you get to play with.
It's interesting too. There are people who are born into this world who are both. And that the doctor, at the time of birth, and maybe the parents are involved too, gets to make the decision as to what gender they're going to be. These are called hermaphrodites. They have both genitalia of the male and the female.
Right.
And it's like, I'm sitting here going,
and we don't ever talk about it.
I'm sorry?
We don't ever talk about it for the most part.
And it's like, well, who are you, doctor, or mother and father?
I know of someone whose masseuse was hermaphrodite. And interestingly enough, we're actually separating the word asexual from agender. So it appears that the brain has a tendency psychologically to identify with male or female, or maybe not, but that seems to be an identity in the brain. And then we have the issue of the biology of the body. Yeah. So it is a very complex question.
Very much so. I throw this out there too because I've had this happen in conversations with people specifically dealing with disabilities. And a gentleman and I had a conversation about the fact back in the 80s, all this controversy over the Library of Congress publishing Playboy in Braille. And I said, okay, from a business standpoint, I agree with you that they should pull the funding. If Hefner wants to provide it for the newsstand price to the blind, I think that would be a great idea. However, the fact of the matter is it's already being provided, and now you're telling the blind what they can and cannot read. So now you are the one who's deciding what information that they can take in.
Right.
Where's their right as a human being to make that decision? Why would that be any different as far as gender is concerned? And I hear all of these, I want to call them apocryphal arguments about, they're only doing it, the boys are only doing it so that they can get in the girls' locker room and in the girls' restroom and so forth. And I'm going,
that's
you have got to be kidding me. Are you serious?
Yeah, that's someone who's being insensitive to the conversation.
Yeah, it's not good. And then I want to talk to the boys here real quick, too. Dominique has pulled up a lot of facts. Our generation is a lot different than your generation. Like Michael Baker was mentioning, what we have on TV is not the same thing that we grew up with, All in the Family, da-da-da-da-da. You couldn't even get away with the stuff now. In your generation, Dominique, you're so much better at asking questions. I don't even know why I'm here.
Well, I mean, we touched on a little bit with transgender. We also touched on race issues, too. I mean, when you guys are relating to your friends and stuff, do you ever have a sensation of being a different race and relating to someone who's in a different race? Or do you just see everyone who's all everyone is just students and classmates.
I feel like for the most part, I don't really look at that like type of thing or skin color or race or anything like that for like who I associate myself with and like who I'm friends with. I feel like everyone just like deep down, they're just like a person. It doesn't matter what their skin color is or what their race is.
That's really cool.
I will tell you, again, as an African American Studies major, I'm very happy to hear that. I think that's fantastic because it's not that long ago, and I don't think California had this issue. I don't think California ever had the issue with the separate drinking fountains. I don't think that was ever here.
I don't know.
I don't believe that was ever here. I don't think that was ever in California.
I have some other statistics.
But that was a real issue.
Yeah,
and if you haven't studied that, you're going to see it and you're going to be blown away. Like, are you kidding me? They had separate drinking fountains for African American kids and Caucasian kids, and they couldn't use them.
Separate bathrooms. Yeah.
And that you're talking 60 years ago.
Yeah.
So here's a current fact. I'm listening to a book called Punishment Without the Crime, and it is a look at our misdemeanor system in America. And it is a current fact from 2017 that if you are a white gentleman and you have a felony offense, you are more likely to get hired for the position than if you are an African American gentleman and you have no criminal record. So here in California in particular, with my kids and stuff, we like to think, well, we don't have any racism. We're not discriminating against anyone. But our justice system does not bear that out. And so it's really good to hear that you guys are relating to each other as human beings and not seeing race as an issue with relating to friends and classmates, because this is something that is hidden from wealthier people in our society. We're not seeing the impact of racism. But in particular with the Boys and Girls Club, you are seeing more of an impact of who are our poorest population. And it is really important that everyone become awake to it and do something to make changes.
Well said, Dominique.
You know, it's really unfortunate, too, because there's a bill, I believe it's a bill, I don't think it's been passed yet and hadn't gone to the governor's desk here in California, where they're looking at expunging the records of a certain group of prisoners so that they can then sort of have what's considered a fair shake when going out and looking for work. But
this is really important.
Yeah, but what you just said nullifies that whole thing because it won't make any difference.
If the record is expunged, right. In
because
other words,
if you're black and white, who's going to get the job? If neither of them has a record, who's going to get the job? Whereas, as your example states, the white guy has a criminal record, the black guy doesn't, and the white guy's still going to get the job.
I have a comment to this, and this has not been research, this is just my observation. I know that biologically, when we look at another human being, there's a part of us when we're relating of what looks, what our brain says is healthy, what is romantic, what is, and our brain is giving us those cues, and it has to do with us recognizing ourselves in another person.
Yeah.
And so there may be a little bit, not racism, but just rather recognizing yourself in another person. Yeah. So the more that our communities become interracial and cultural and global, I hope to see this becoming less and less. And I was quite shocked to see in our criminal justice system that that's not the case. Regardless of the percentage of the neighborhoods, there is an unusual amount of misdemeanors happening in our African American populations, unfortunately. And so we need to bring that out.
Now, I have one question before we go to break, and it's sort of rhetorical, but I ask you to ponder it on the break. I want you to find a photograph of, say, 40, 50 years ago, and then one of maybe 3 or 4 years ago of Michael Jackson. Was he black, or was he white, or was he a man?
It's a good song.
Or what? Yes, I realize that.
Okay.
Or was he a man who had what was described as a particular pigmentation condition? Okay? Because if I were to have seen him and never seen any of the childhood pictures, I would have said the man was Caucasian, if not Asian. Okay?
So yep.
Oh, yeah, we'll leave Michael out of this, okay?
Not being disparaging.
No, I know that. Example. We love Michael.
Yes, we do.
Let's take a little break. Erica Salt of the Queen of Teen. We'll be back with more after these messages. are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday. Well, we are happy that Holly had some time, put her hands together. Woo! And what I love about it is she's going to be our college, I guess, the best thing to do, because we had Lori Cortez and then we had Kristen Sneddon. So we have a new college coach. And this is perfect because we have 2 teen athletes here that's going to need your information that you've been doing. How many years now? 10? Over 10?
I've been in higher education for more than 20 years.
20 years. Nice. And you got a great voice.
Thank you.
You've got a perfect voice. I love it. I said I loved it. I was writing little sticky notes. I love her voice. This is wonderful. Because I make the announcement. All those in favor, I already said this already before you got here, that Holly's going to be a co-host. Say aye! Everybody, big hands, please. Thank you. It's like, pretend we're on TV. Okay, let's show some love. All right, great. What I really am excited about is when kids are coming up through the freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and you want to be that collegiate athlete. Let's talk about today, because things have changed since my kids are 24, 27, so I know, and they constantly change. So what do we got to look for?
Well, I think one of the things that students need to know is the NCAA clearinghouse. If you're planning to apply as an athlete or want to play as an athlete in Division I or Division II schools, those are schools that can offer athletic scholarships. You need to be conscious of the requirements, because oftentimes when students go to apply to the clearinghouse, they discover that grade-wise they're actually eligible, but the way they're not eligible is because of the specific courses they've taken. So in order to be considered for the scholarships in these high division athletic programs, you really need to make sure that you are going through the clearinghouse and going through their checklist. And it's really easy to find. You just don't want to get to a situation where at the end of your junior year, all of a sudden you discover, oh my gosh, I'm not eligible, not because I don't have a great GPA, but because I didn't take a particular course or a couple particular courses that they needed me to take. So I encourage everybody to just hop on the website, NCAA Clearinghouse, check it out if you think you're going to be a collegiate level athlete there. I also want to mention Division III schools, because oftentimes athletes are not necessarily ready for Division I. They're not going to get paid to play, as some people would think of it. But Division III schools still allow you to pursue your passion as an athlete. They are absolutely competitive. Don't let anybody tell you differently. And the difference is, because they don't offer athletic scholarships, you're there for the academics first, and the coaches will recognize it. I'm not saying they won't push you, but I will tell you that when it comes down to the academics, they're going to actually be pushing you in the classroom as well as on the field or in the pool or wherever your sport puts you. So those are a couple tips I would offer about the way athletes should approach their college career.
So should I avoid the whole thing and just take everything? Just take everything, and then if I'm covered no matter what happens?
Well, I think you should hopefully meet with your high school counselor to make sure you're on track. Your coach may know a little bit about this. But one thing that I think is interesting is, compared to when I grew up, students now, you guys are playing on club teams so much. One of the things that people don't realize is that if scouts are out there, they're scouting tournaments. So you need to be careful of your behavior, not just when you're with your high school team, but when you're with your club team. Because on the field or in the parking lot, if you get off the field and are in the parking lot yelling at your parents or your teammates or whoever, that is going to be what they remember. And no matter what kind of college application you're submitting, you want to be remembered for the right reasons. So
now,
that's what I would
Holly,
encourage.
do you, like Lori Cortez, is this, because I know you have a job, but do you take on kids on the side as a business?
I do.
Okay, great.
My business
Good.
is Smart College Admission, and
Good.
I'll help students with selecting their colleges, with individual parts of the application if they want to go that route. But generally what I like to do is meet with them, try and do a personality match and an academic match, find
Nice.
10 to 12 colleges, some that are reach, some that are 50-50, and some that are pretty safe bets. And I work with kids from the lower end of the GPA scale all the way up to the ones who are exceeding the traditional GPA scale. So
My kids both started with their college coach summer of 8th grade. Do you think that's too premature? Just kidding. No, not kidding. Ask Lori Cortez. I just threw it.
Honestly, I'd like kids to have a chance to grow up a little bit.
Okay.
I don't think I don't care about choosing a major. I don't think it's right to actually to say I'm going to be a college or I'm going to be a lawyer or this or that. I think there's so much out there students don't ever get the chance to explore if we get it in our head that that's what they have to do. So I'm a big fan of try lots of everything, and then by your sophomore year, I'd like to at least be chatting with you.
So we're going to go through a couple of those little things first. We're going to take a break, but freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, you're going to give us a little rundown what you need to be working up, and we'll be right back with Holly after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday. Holly, I know this put you on the spot, but we want to make some announcements. But I really fast, at this time of year, right now, oncoming freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, like what should they be doing right now?
Freshmen, I want everybody to install the free app called Grammarly on your computer so that you do not ever turn in a paper with misspelled words and other things, because college doesn't accept that. Also, please learn the difference between active and passive tense writing. Sophomores, between your sophomore and junior year, you can be looking for scholarships, private scholarships, because they really don't change much from year to year. So you can do your research, figure out what you qualify for, understand when the deadlines are and what they need. Juniors, you've got a lot to do between your junior and senior year. We're really looking for you to get those essays done over the summer, pick those colleges, do all the things that you can now, because your senior year is going to be jam-packed. There is no way you're going to feel like it's an easy senior year. So there's plenty to do. I'm happy to go over the details with people, but
what's your contact information?
You can reach me at holly@smartcollegeadmission.com or 805-968-6681.
And we're going to have her link on the new Teen Sports Radio website. Thank you, Claudia Moreau. Woo! We love Claudia. We love our new website. All right, Ed Langlow, you've got a couple things you want to close out with.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about another event that's coming up that you won't want to miss. It's at the Elks Lodge on the 4th of July. They have an event out there every year, and there are things for adults to do. They actually have an open bar out there. They have a bingo for adults inside. But the event is really all about the kids. So if you bring your kids out, there will be 2 bounce houses, not just 1 bounce house, 2 bounce houses for them to play in. There's face painting. The admission initially is free. There's a children's gazebo area that is a $5 fee, but you get to come in and you get to do spin painting, which spin art. It's a Frisbee. They give you a Frisbee. You put the paint on it. They spin it, and you get to take that Frisbee home with you.
Nice.
Knowing that you did it. They have Beanie Babies. You get to take a Beanie Baby of your choice and take it home. They have face painting. You can do art yourself. You can do rock painting. They have temporary tattoos for the kids.
You going to be singing out there, Ed?
Yes.
Woo! Ed, you going to be getting down?
No, I'm not.
No,
We're not
singing?
playing out there.
You guys aren't singing out there?
I'm just kidding.
All right.
No.
You are?
We will be. There's another event that she's, I think, alluding to. It is a fundraiser for our local veterans. It's called Groovin' in the Grove. It's a classic car and vintage travel trailer show. And Ernie and the Emperors will be there, and I'll probably sit in with them on a few songs.
The date on that is?
That's the 27th of July.
All right, cool.
The last Saturday in July.
Michael Baker, you killed it. A couple of updates on United Boys and Girls Club. What's been going on? You crushed all of your events because you're Mayor Baker. I'm sorry, I can't.
The events are really well. The thing we want to push right now is the Maricos Challenge. Okay. Maricos Challenge Maricos Foundation has given us $150,000 to raise over the next 30 days. They'll match it for Camp Whittier Rebuild. So go to our website, unitedbg.org. That's United, B as in boy, G as in girl.org, and take the challenge.
Okay. But I like we were talking numbers, and we got to look up. We got another minute or so.
Okay.
Come on.
So running through quickly, our rally, which is our biggest fundraiser, most successful one we ever had. You know me, I don't give gross numbers.
Heck no,
because you can't pay bills with gross.
That's right. That's it. You got
learned that the hard way with my first check.
That's it. Exactly.
First paycheck. It was we netted over $300,000.
Yeah. Woo! Nice.
Yeah. So that was a very successful. Tremendous thanks to the Arm & Hammer Foundation and Michael Hammer for being the title
Do we
sponsor.
have any golf tournaments coming up?
We do. We actually have 2 coming up. September 16th is our annual golf tournament at La Cumbra.
Okay.
And then we're actually setting a date in August. I don't know it off the top of my head for the alumni golf tournament at La Cumbra. At Glen Annie.
Dominique and I have the closest to the pin, Saul Alcaraz, beautiful piece, and we're donating it to you guys.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fabulous. So we'll have to discuss the closest to the pin and the whole thing. It's a beautiful piece.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah. We're giving that away to the United Boys and Girls Club.
Thank you.
Yes. I've had it for like 2.5 years. I don't know why. Oh, you know what it was? I think you guys were supposed to get it 2.5 years ago, and then that was the year the flood. Well, the fire. Well, that was before the flood. The fire.
It was the same year we had the flood and the fire.
Exactly. Well, remember when you dropped the balls
from the
Oh, yeah.
that thing, and the crane didn't work.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Well, that was the year you're supposed to get it. So you're gonna get it this year, Michael Berry.
better
we
late than
love
never.
you. Santa Barbara, we love you too. Be kind. See you next week.